Morning, it is Kirsten Liebelt. How are you? It's good to see you. It's Tuesday. Did you guys, excuse me, did you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend? I hope you did. I know I did. I really, really did. I took in shopping and family and all of the good things. So we did it all. So, Instagram just fell. Hold on just a second. Instagram. Hold on. All right. So today what I want to do is I actually want to chat about sweeteners today. This kind of came to my mind yesterday and I thought, I'm going to do this because I feel like when I do this in the Facebook group that it's really helpful for people. And I thought, well, let's just do this on a live instead. And so if you don't know who I am, my name is Kirsten Liebelt. And I was raised by a type 2 insulin dependent dad. And it really shaped my entire life. A lot of type 2 and obesity in my Italian family. And I started knowing about my insulin resistance, even though I didn't know any of the terminology in my 20s. And I didn't do anything about it until I was in my 40s. So number one, if you're on the replay, please let me know that you're on the replay. I would love to know that you are, and I would love to know where you are coming in from. That's always really fun for me. Obviously, TikTok, I won't know, but Instagram and Facebook, I will. So anyway, and then of course you can always subscribe and do all of the things, the likes and the follows and all the things. That would be great. If you think anybody needs this information, share it out. Okay, we're going to go through I'm going to go through 4 different sweeteners, even though there are more things that you could talk about, but I'm going to do the 4 that I do the most often, because then I can tell you why they're helpful and like, where did they even come from? Like, how did this even evolve? You know, we've always been so afraid of sweeteners, right? Because of aspartame and saccharin, and then it was taken off the market and all of these different things. And we want to maybe know if there are better options. Again, I don't know why this is being so janky. Sorry, Instagram. Okay, there. I think you're stable now. If you're not, you know, whatever, we'll fix it again. So I wanted to go through the 4. Like I said, I do this a lot in my Facebook group, which is actually called, just so that you know, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And I do a challenge in there at the beginning of every month. And I have another one starting next Monday, June 3rd. And we do ingredient trade outs and pantry and fridge ideas and targeted supplementation and a recipe. So if I could equip you for a month and you can take a month and like nail it to the wall, nail it to the floor, then you can add month after month after month and be in a completely different place by the end of the year. That's the whole idea, is that you can actually turn things around and finally be able to lose weight. So let's talk about sweeteners, because I know there's a lot of different, you know, thought processes about taste and things like that. And you do have to kind of like, you know, sometimes you just have to practice things. So let me know. I'd love to know, what is your favorite sweetener out of your erythritol, allulose, stevia, monk fruit? What is your favorite that you've tried? Or do you have zero idea what I'm talking about? And you're like, monk, what? Like, I've never even heard of that. I would love to know where people are in their experimentation and or knowledge of like using different sweeteners. So yesterday for Memorial Day, I made a broccoli salad. Well, you know, every single salad that's out there on every single, monk fruit is your favorite. Yep, that's actually a lot of people's favorite. Every single salad, coleslaw, broccoli salad, anything, you use Swerve. Okay, so Swerve is a erythritol base, so I'll talk about that. They all have sugar in them. That's why we love them. That's why I love them, is because of the sugar. I want all the sugar. So when you are at a salad bar, I don't even know if they really have those as much anymore, or if you're at any kind of a picnic gathering this summer and you love all those salads, just remember that there's sugar in them. So when you're insulin resistant and you are trying to change the course of how you're doing things and you're trying to stop spiking your sugars, hidden sugars are one of the biggest issues that we have in general. There's like a ton of sugar in ketchup. There's a ton of sugar in salads, especially you go grab the deli salads. There's a ton of sugar in absolutely everything. Allulose Swerve changed their recipe and I didn't like it. Oh, see, now that's good to know, Elizabeth. And that does happen. It does. And you do have to kind of like, you just got to be a label reader. You can't get away from reading labels because sometimes they sell their company and you don't even know that they've done this. Sometimes they, like just change a formula, just like you were saying, and you don't know it. And you're like, what's different or, whatever. So let's get into it. So I'm going to actually start with your erythritol. And the reason why it's because it's the most common and it's the base of what usually blends are made out of. Okay. So first I'm going to tell you what erythritol is, and then I'm going to, tell you what I do with it, because I do different things with different ones for different reasons. Maybe because I'm a little bit of an experimenter for you guys. Like when I'm doing my Facebook group and stuff, I want to be the experimenter a little bit so that I can know, but also too, a little bit of I don't care. I'm super interchangeable and I kind of don't care. And that's okay. You love the swerve powdered sugar and brown sugar. Yep. I know. We'll talk about that here. Use something that is more, I like to use something that these are natural, Kinder Lady. These are. And so this is the conversation. The conversation is we think that actual sugar of any form is actually wiser when you're insulin resistant, and it's not, because it's keeping you on a hamster wheel of frustration. And especially when you use them, when you have blood sugar issues, if you are already, you can be insulin resistant for a long, long, long time before it shows up in your blood sugar. So if it's already shown up in your blood sugar and you're testing your blood sugar, like I had to do when I was pregnant, gestational diabetic, and you're watching your sugars, this is where this conversation comes in. So I'm so glad that you said that. So let's get into it. So this is where your erythritol comes in. These are not in the same category. And this is why I know there's confusion. And this is why I know why I'm talking about it today, probably because it was in my heart to talk about it. This is not the same as saccharin. This is not the same as aspartame. This is not the same as a lot of the other artificial sweeteners that you're finding in colas and things like that. Okay. So here we go. Erythritol is actually a sugar alcohol naturally found in some fruits and fermented foods. So it's already naturally occurring in our foods, just that God gave us. It is also commercially produced by fermenting glucose with yeast. And so that's kind of interesting. I mean, I don't think I would have known that. The sweetness of erythritol is about 70% as sweet as table sugar. So it's kind of like not quite as sweet. And I'm going to tell you how to boost that sweetness in just a second. That's kind of what I end up having to do. Elizabeth, that is true that it has Swerve has changed their has changed. You can still find some of the old ones. You do have to be a label reader, but you're right. They add things and sometimes they can be a frustration. So, but if you're somebody who tests your blood, you can find out for yourself if it's actually raising it for you, because it might not be. Some people will, some people won't, but you're right. They changed it. So your erythritol has about 0.2 calories per gram, making it almost calorie free. It does not raise blood sugar or insulin levels and is well tolerated by most people, causing minimal digestive issues compared to other sugar alcohols. So that's very interesting. It is commonly used in sugar-free and low-calorie products, including baked goods, beverages, and confectionery. So that's kind of your erythritol. And if you need to know about, because the news came out, they're always throwing a little bit of a curveball at us. And they threw out this study about a year ago that was a super faulty study, and it got people concerned about erythritol. I love getting my information from a lot of my information from Maria and Craig. And so on YouTube, if you type in Maria Emmerich erythritol, she has like an 11-minute video where they talk about that study. Because again, I just hate it when they get us to stop doing something and they just use a little bit of fear to get us to stop doing it. And then we go back to maybe a different thought process, or we think, oh, that's just too hard. And so now I can't trust anything, or, I knew it. I'm just going to go back to regular sugar. But see, if you're type 2, it doesn't work. Like, you have to shift things. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there because it gets super irritating. And I can tell even in that video, Maria's really irritated because it was such a faulty study. So if you really are a researcher, go to YouTube, Maria Emmerich, erythritol study. It's worth your 11 minutes just to understand how they can give us false information. Like, this is a part of the whole marketing that I talk about all the time. We're so marketed to by industries that give us bad information, and then we're in a pickle like we are right now. Like we're more obese than we've ever been. We're sicker than we've ever been. We're on more meds than we've ever been. And so if we only ever listen to what they put on a package, we don't go anywhere. So that's what erythritol is. And that is the base of a lot of things. So for instance, this Lecanto erythritol powdered blend has monk fruit in it, but erythritol is the base. Swerve is a erythritol. And let's see what's in this one. This one actually has allulose in it. This brown sugar, erythritol allulose. Okay, so that's what this one is. This one is erythritol allulose. So they changed it. So Swerve has added allulose to it. And I actually, now I'm remembering in my brain, the reason why I grabbed these two is because of the allulose, because I use things that have allulose in them for when I'm making the egg white bread. Because when you make the egg white bread, allulose is one of the sweeteners that helps it to get brown. I don't know if you knew that or not. But anyway, so here's some examples of allulose blends. These are all blends. Okay, so now let's move along. I knew none of this stuff, you guys. None of this stuff. I was a total sugar addict, and I just didn't know, like, super clueless. So that's why I love sharing this. The second one is actually allulose. Get this. Allulose, and it's actually one of the ones that sometimes people can use allulose, straight allulose, and it will bring their blood sugars down, which is crazy. But this is what it is. It's a rare sugar naturally found in small quantities in some fruits like figs and raisins. It is commercially produced from fructose. It's about 70% as sweet as table sugar. Allulose has approximately 0.4 calories per gram, making it very low in calories. It does not significantly affect blood sugar or insulin levels and has minimal impact on digestion. Allulose is used in various low calorie and low carb products, including baked goods, sauces, and desserts. Okay, so allulose has been integral in my cooking and baking because, again, of the browning of the egg white bread. So has anybody ever made the egg white protein powder bread? Like I use a Maria Emmerich base, and then I've just tweaked it for myself. And it's a great way to have bread or bread like, like Danishes, or you have, yes, yay, hey, Melissa. Just this week. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Baki Mama Madre. I love that. It's not Becky, right? Baki. Okay, I just want to make sure I get it right. That's awesome. So good. So when you make the bread, if you make the bread with Swerve or erythritol only, pretend that this doesn't have allulose in it as a blend. Swerve, the normal original Swerve, that is erythritol and maybe some, probably has some chicory root in it, the original. Or this monk fruit erythritol, it won't brown. It'll come out white. It'll come out white like this. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. You can totally do that, and it's going to taste good. It's just going to come out white like your parchment paper, and you're going to think, what? You have a special needs son, calls me Baki for Becky. Okay. I love that. Oh, that is so sweet. My girlfriend has twin autistic boys that are, I think they're, oh man, they might have just turned 20. I'm not sure. And anyway, so, that's so sweet. So using allulose is what's going to brown your bread. So if you've ever made the egg white bread, or you see me make it like in the Facebook group, or when you get into the Facebook group, actually, I tag you in a recipe PDF, and the egg white, the one that I use, the one that I've kind of like tweaked, it's in the PDF. That's just a side note. So if you're ever going to try the egg white bread, allulose. Normally, I'll either use this. This is a straight allulose. This is RX sugar, so prescription sugar. Very granulated. This one is super, like, I don't have a spoon on me. Super, like, over granulated. You're like, wow, that's really granulated. But I'll use this one. Or if I use any sweetener that has, oopsie, not this one. If I use any sweetener that has allulose in it, it'll brown it. Okay, so it doesn't have to be pure allulose, but it can have allulose in it. All right, does that make sense? Very good. Okay, if you have questions, let me know. But then allulose actually, that's weird. I don't know what that means. So anyway, you can put granulated sugar in a coffee grinder to make, yes, you can do that. You don't have to buy powdered. You are correct. You can make your own powdered in a coffee grinder. That is true. Okay, so this allulose is, what I did was I wanted to give you a couple of different alternatives of type. So this is granulated. You can also get liquid. If let's say you want liquid for, oh golly, like for instance, if I'm going to make like a honey mustard or something like that, I'm going to make a condiment and I want to use something sweet, I might use this liquid. This is actually pretty thick. I should have had a spoon. I don't have a spoon. This is actually fairly thick. I mean, it's kind of like half thick, half not. So it's not as thick as like maple syrup or something, but it's thicker than just water. Does that make sense? And then they also have this for pancake syrup. So you can get an allulose pancake syrup. And again, not as thick as pancake syrup, but it's definitely going to give you that flavor that you're looking for and very mapley. And you are also able to, you can sweeten things with this. Like let's say you're going to make a keto cookie or you're going to make a salad dressing that you want to have that kind of mapley flavor in it, you know. I would absolutely think about having something like this, but I just want you to know the different forms that you can get stuff in. So that's erythritol, allulose. Let's move along. Let's go to monk fruit because people really do like monk fruit. Sometimes people will say to me that they feel like monk fruit is the sweetest of all of them. And monk fruit, also known as, and I know I won't pronounce this correctly, but I'll try. Lohangu is a small green melon native to southern China. The sweetener is derived from its extract. That's what monk fruit is. Isn't that interesting? Monk fruit extract is about 150 to 250 times sweeter than table sugar. That's why people like monk fruit. It has 0 calories, monk fruit, and it is more expensive. When you buy straight monk fruit, it's more expensive than the other ones, FYI. It does not raise blood sugar or insulin levels and is generally well tolerated. It also lacks the aftertaste that some people experience with stevia. We'll get to stevia next. Monk fruit sweetener is used in beverages, desserts, and various low carb and low calorie products. So monk fruit, if you buy it straight, it is going to be a little bit more expensive. You can buy it in a blend like this. This is a erythritol monk fruit. Okay. And that kind of then cuts the cost. These are the downsides with erythritol. Some people say that erythritol has a cooling effect on the tongue. And so like, let's say you have a baked good, you have a muffin that you baked with erythritol. It might feel like it has this cooling, I don't know. They call it a cooling effect. I was trying to think if I had a different way to explain it, but I kind of don't. It kind of just is like, you can tell that it's different. And so some people don't like that. So that's why people will then switch over to allulose. Some people will buy monk fruit straight so that they don't have that. And then when it comes to stevia, this is our fourth one, the stevia. And I actually, so this is the only one that I have monk fruit in it right now. There are times where I will buy liquid monk fruit, and I can talk about that when I get to the stevia right now. Stevia, some people say is too bitter, has a bitter taste. So there are different ways that I do stevia. So if you get stevia, like pay attention again. I haven't for a really long time looked at the back of a packet of like Truvia. I don't know if they have jinky ingredients in there. I haven't looked for a really, really long time, so I don't know. However, stevia in general, this is what it is. It's derived from the leaves of a Stevia rubiana plant native to South America. It's about 200 to 300 times sweeter than table sugar, depending on the specific glycosides used. It has 0 calories. Stevia does not raise blood sugar or insulin levels and is generally well tolerated. It can sometimes have a slight aftertaste, which varies among different formulations. That's what stevia is. So when I've done stevia, I will either do, there's a brand that I don't have here. It's called Pure, Pyure, and you can get that at like Walmart. And it's a erythritol stevia blend. I don't mind that one. I also buy Stevia sweetened liquid. So this one is vanilla and this one is caramel. And I use these. Remember when I was saying that like erythritol is 70% as sweet as sugar. Allulose is, I think it was allulose. Yeah, is 70% as sweet. I will boost the sweetness of a recipe using a liquid stevia. You can get plain. You can get flavored. This is a great way to put flavoring in your coffee, is to have a liquid. I get these off of Thrive Market. I have an annual membership there, but you could probably order off of Amazon. I have not seen these on the shelves of Walmart. If anybody has like a grocery store by you, let me know in the comments. I would love to know if you've seen these in the store. But you can also get liquid monk fruit. So liquid stevia, liquid monk fruit. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. She says, thank you for the great information. These I love because this is what they're in HEBs. Oh, thank you for telling me that. That way I can share to people. So if you have an HEB by you, I do not, Publix has it. Okay, good to know. You know what? And I'm in Minnesota. I believe those are Southern stores, aren't they? You guys have it made down there. I've heard you guys, I think, can even get in your Publix. You can get the egg white protein powder more easily in your grocery stores for the egg white bread. Yep. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Woohoo! Love Tennessee. I have so many friends in Tennessee, like a lot. I feel like everybody migrated to Tennessee recently. Oh, HEB is definitely Texas. Okay, good to know. Yeah, y'all down there, you're getting the good stuff. So basically, for instance, when I'm making the egg white bread, I always make it sweet. That's just me. Some people are savory people. Fine, right? You can do that. You think you've seen them at Save Mart, Central California. Good to know. Thank you, Bunny. I love that. So I will take it's Maria Emmerich where I first found it was the egg white. I'll take that. And as I'm whipping up my egg whites, not only will I add in the normal allulose, because like even when you eat Wonder Bread, it has a sweet taste to it, right? I'll add in my allulose like normal to make it brown. And then now for me, if I'm making it sweet, I don't care if it's vanilla, caramel, or plain. I'll squirt a nice squirt in the egg white mixture so that I'm boosting the sweetness, right? So I'll boost the sweetness by doing that, one squirt. Then I'll add like vanilla extract, and then I'll whip it until it's stiff. And then at the very end, when I add in my egg white protein powder, I will usually add in then another extract, and I play around with actual extracts. I don't do that at the beginning. You would want savory. Ruthie, good to see you. She would want savory. She would exclude? No, don't exclude or reduce it. Still brown. If you're making a savory bread, the egg white bread, keep the amount of allulose. Do not boost the sweetness with the liquid. Okay, don't boost it at all. Just keep the straight allulose. And because it's normal. It really doesn't make it super sweet. Dublin, Ireland, that is totally awesome. Okay, so do you have products like this in Ireland? I would love to know. Do you have stuff like this? I would love to know. And then the other thing that I do is I'll use these for coffee, but also when you make the sugar-free chocolate pudding. I love using these to boost the sweetness, because if I'm using, let's say I make the chocolate pudding, it's the egg white pudding, and I use regular sweetener like this, and then if I boost it like caramel or vanilla, either way, it really makes it yummy. Wyoming, good to see you. That's awesome. That is so cool. So basically we went through erythritol, erythritol, allulose, monk fruit, and stevia. We went through all four of them, and I told you where they came from. And so just to give you a little bit of a recap, because again, I feel like my mission and my thought process in this is to get people to understand that there's a lot of chaos and noise out there when it comes to this is good for you, this is bad for you. And it can literally, you love the egg white pudding. I know, so do I. I have a Vitamix full of it in my fridge right now. We never even got it into the ramekins. I'm just telling you the honest truth. So there's so much information and so much kind of like confusion about sweeteners. And I don't want that. Like if, this is not the same as drinking aspartame in your Coke. This isn't. These are coming from naturally derived sources. Erythritol is a sugar alcohol naturally found in some fruits and fermented foods. That's erythritol. This is a erythritol blend. Do I have a Facebook page with recipes? I do. So the Facebook group, I have a Facebook group has the recipes. Ditch insulin resistance for women. You can get into the group, search it. It has a June 4-day challenge banner on it. There's a seashell. You'll see it. When you get in, you will get tagged in a free recipe PDF that just gets you started on your journey. And I talk food, you're welcome, food and very specifically targeted supplementation, because I talk a lot about how I started my journey with targeted supplementation. I talk about the trio, which are those 3 supplements that help with insulin sensitivity. You can always reach out to me and ask me about that. Thank you. Perfect, Robin. Yes. Thank you. And I talk about that all the time because that's where I started, because I'm Italian and I didn't trade out my foods first. But because when you can get your insulin and your sugars down, you can actually lose weight. And I have gone from a 2X down to a large in my 50s post cycle stopping. I started right shy of 51 trading out my foods. I started right before that with supplementation. And then now I'm 59. So that's kind of where that goes. So erythritol is a sugar alcohol naturally found in some fruits and fermented foods. Allulose is a rare sugar found in small quantities in some fruits like figs and raisins. Stevia is derived from the leaves of a Stevia rebaudiana plant native to South America. Monk fruit, which is actually in here too. I should have held this one up for the monk fruit. This one I could hold up for the erythritol. Monk fruit, this is a blend, is known as Lohangu Gao, and it is a small green melon native to southern China. The sweetener is derived from its extract. So I want people to hear that conversation. These are natural sweeteners. They come from natural sources, and this is not the same. You're going to go watch the erythritol study on the plane to Texas. Good job, movie mama. Oh, that's very smart. It's literally 11 minutes. And I feel like it's just good information for people, because I don't want people to get, okay, you're on a path. And like, just if you're a runner, I'm not a runner, but I'm going to use the analogy because it came to my brain. Go figure. But if you're running and you could literally trip and fall over the smallest stone on the ground. You could literally it could stop you from doing what you are on the path to get to. Like you're trying to get to another place. And my whole point is that I want to put people on a track that can actually take you somewhere. And being Italian, that part of my journey just helps me enough to be able to teach how to trade out ingredients and how to deal with some of the emotional connections with food, because I can understand where this comes from. Good morning, Anna. It's nice to see you too. I just know kind of a lot of those pieces, but being tripped up by, there's already so much. I am feeling great. I don't know. I slept with the air conditioning on last night. I'm having an allergy, whatever. It's weird. Anyway. And so I'm a million times better because I blocked out those allergens. So I'm so much better. But anyway, you're on this path and you get tripped up over so much. And you can get, if you're spending any time watching a morning news show or morning news shows or any kind of whatever, like you're getting blasted with information all the time. Well, let's dispel some of the myths and the rumors so that you can stay on your path in a better way. That's really the thought process. And erythritol was one of those things that they tried to like throw in front of us to completely derail, in my opinion. And I love that Maria and Craig are so on top of it to say, that was such a faulty study. This was disgusting. I cannot believe they actually put this out as news. This is ridiculous. And it really has kept people questioning enough so that maybe they don't make a good enough choice. That's the problem. You've been on GLP-1 for 5 months, doing everything right, can't lose, found out you're insulin resistant. Yeah, I know. And this is the deal. So you can be insulin resistant for years and years and years. I started my insulin resistance in my 20s. I was gestational with my first baby. I was hypoglycemic with my second baby. And then I didn't do anything about it for 20 years. Now I should have, because thank you for sharing, Nancy. You're amazing. In between having my babies and being in my 40s, my dad died when I was 30. Type 2, insulin dependent. That was my whole life. My whole life was my dad having a lazy Susan full of medication, having all the heart surgeries and having the kidney dialysis. Like, this was my universe. They would not, I matched him for a kidney, but they wouldn't let me because I had been gestational with my first baby. And because he was like 35 when his type 2 started. And they said, and that was right around when I was born. And they said, no, basically the University of Minnesota said no. And I still wasn't putting it all together, you guys. Talk about coming slow to the party, slow to the game, slow to paying attention. That's why in my 40s, I still wasn't ready. After all those years, I still wasn't ready. Thank you for following, Spider Lily, to actually change out my foods. I mean, that's just how this is. So don't feel bad if you feel like it's been taking you a while to kind of wrap your brain around this. This is where I want to be able to step in and say, listen, you can just start wherever you are at, and you don't have to have a lot of shame over the messages that were given to you as a child. You don't have to feel broken anymore. This is very frustrating because we are not given clear information. This is ridiculous. So to have insulin resistance for years and years and years before it shows up in your blood sugars, that's why you're told everything looks good. Everything looks good until then all of a sudden it's not. We've been told so many conflicting things over the past 30 to 40 years. So much. And that's eventually the conversation that I get on, because we've been given so much poor information because it's been driven by industries. It's just the truth. So we don't get straight answers. It's very frustrating for a lot of people. And I can hear the conversations that you are having with your medical provider. Sometimes there's shame involved. Sometimes there's judgment involved. Sometimes there's no time involved, no answers other than scripts or higher doses. And that's really frustrating. So for anybody who wants to be their own advocate, like I eventually did, not because I was smart though, it's because I was taking a path of least resistance. When I started with supplementation, I was doing it because in my head, that was the lazy way out. Because I didn't have to actually figure out the language of a new food. You've gone from, I can't see behind you. You've gone from 5 diabetes meds down to 1, 90 pounds, type 2. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. You guys are janky today, Instagram. Oh, that is so good. Good job. So what she's saying is she's gone from 5 meds down to 1. She's down 90 pounds, type 2 and insulin resistant. Oh, that's so good. You guys, this is not a terminal diagnosis. This is something that can be turned back. I love listening to people like Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Eric Berg. Maria Emmerich gives really creative ingredient trade outs. There's so much information out there. We live in 2024 where the information is so full and rich, and we don't have to listen to all of the other things. Saving your life one day at a time. Yes, you are. I mean, come on. My dad was 63. I'm 59 now. How young do you think that is to me now? Now I'm like, oh my gosh, he was so young. I thought he was young. No, he's really young. Yes, you love Dr. Ken Berry. I know, because they speak the truth and they're just like trying to tell you, listen, if what they're telling us is getting us into a worse place all the time, it's okay for us to actually finally question, like, what the heck is going on? And the thing is that like when it comes to the food pyramid that we've been given and all of the information and things being driven by industry and all of these things, it's like we actually have to become our own advocates. So a year ago, it's been a full year since I started the Facebook group. And again, it's called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And when I started it a year ago, I did it specifically. I actually beta tested 2 groups. A lot of people don't know this. I was doing a lot of content around hormones in general because adaptogenic herbs, which I still like recommend, and you can always ask me about them to women all the time because they changed my life. Started taking them for brain fog, and they balanced out my hormones. That's another conversation because they help you with your adrenals. Anyway, so that's that I started doing content around hormones because I ended up being thrown into menopause through a shoulder surgery, rotator cuff. And I never had a cycle again. So I needed to figure things out. And because I had started adaptogenic herbs before my surgery, like a few years before, for other reasons, I already had an answer in my hand and I didn't know it. I didn't understand it. But then I realized it. I woke up and went, oh my gosh, those herbs that I've been taking, blah, blah, blah. Well, I ended up never having HRT, never having a hot flash, etc. So I start creating content talking about hormones and especially as I'm trading out food ingredients, etc., trying to have lower hormonal impact on my body that I have to swim upstream against. And at the same time that I started the adaptogenic herbs, I started the supplementation, the trio that I talk about to help my sugars. Well, insulin is a hormone. So I'm like, okay, what if I take hormones and I go down to one hormone and I talk about insulin because hormone. And so I beta tested 2 groups last June 2023. One was for menopause and hormones, and one was for insulin resistance. And insulin resistance was like, whoa, the response was so massive that people needed to have tricks and tips and ways that they could jumpstart their body and go faster towards insulin sensitivity and like make a difference. Well, since then, the testimonies that I have been able to like secure because of the group, we do a challenge every month at the beginning of the month, and the next one starts June 3rd. And I go live every day. And the testimonies have just been phenomenal about people starting with targeted supplementation and getting their sugars to come down, finally getting their weight to budge where they couldn't get it to budge before, because it's just simplicity of giving your body raw materials so that it can function, dealing with some simple nutrient deficiencies, and getting your body to kind of like rev back up that engine again, putting that power steering fluid back into your power steering compartment. Amazing. So anyway, so it's been 1 year, you guys. It's my anniversary, June, 1 year anniversary. I'm so excited. Have to go. You joined the Facebook group. Woohoo! You can't wait to dive into the info. You are so welcome, Robin. This is amazing. Oh, what is VSG? Yep, and she answered that for you. Sleeve gastric surgery. Yep. And I have people ask me about that all the time if I've worked with people with gastric surgery. And I have not necessarily one-on-one, but I do have people that are connected to me that have had it. Thank you. So, yep. Good. Dr. Berry is so honest. He has changed his life, now teaches others. There are not doctors who do this. Yes. I do appreciate that so much. And when things come from an authentic place like this, where this was literally just my journey, I just share my journey, and it doesn't have to, I won't be for everybody, and that's okay. I'm so good with that. Like the bariatric community has a lot of their own advocates, and they also have a lot of different things that are connected to bariatric surgery that they need to know about. And that's just not my wheelhouse. And I'm so good to not be for everybody, but those who do resonate with me, like I can get you on a track, right, to start speeding up your process a little bit with targeted supplementation. And then let's change out the ingredients one at a time, and let's do it without shame. shame from past tracks in our head, shame from maybe things that were said to us when we were growing up, sometimes from our parents, sometimes just from other people. We can become our own advocate, and we don't have to. You're never alone. You're never alone. Surgery is just a tool. You need to work on it every day. You join the Facebook group. That's exactly what I've heard from people who have had, it's a tool. It's a tool, and you still have to work on it every day. I've heard that. And it's hard work, just like everybody else. I've always known in listening to people, because I actually do. I actually listen to quite a few people on TikTok that have had bariatric surgery, because, and I know there are many forms of it. So if I use terminology that's not correct, like sleeve or bariatric, it's just because I don't know. But so I know that there are many forms of surgery, but I also do know they work very hard to actually continue on and to maintain. And like you said, it's a tool. So I really do. I know that from having watched and paid attention. Melissa, I'm going to read your comment because you're so nice. What you do is wonderful. And thank you for taking the time to share so we can benefit also. Thank you. You're so welcome, Melissa. Thank you for making my day. You just made my day. I so appreciate you. So having said all of that, let's see if there's anything else. Oh, I do have, did I already move them? I have, well, I don't know if I need to talk about these today. I have keychains. If you've been on one of my lives recently over the weekend, I have keychains that I'm sending out with orders. And they say really nice things. And the reason why is because I've heard from people that, I guess I'll just show them to you quickly. I have people that they say things on my lives that really like strike me. And I have memories of being raised with, my sister and I would talk about the look that we would get. And I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, because seriously, that's not my goal. I was raised by an incredible mother, incredible. And then we took care of her with her dementia. But she just did not want us to be overweight. She did not want us to, hold on, I need to take a screenshot. And she just did not want us to be overweight. That was to her the worst thing ever, was to be overweight. And so she kind of always gave us a look. And so and my sister and I would talk about that. But anyway, and so I wanted to do things. I was sharing yesterday how I wear a bracelet that says "Be defiant," and this reminds me to be defiant to my own habits, and to be defiant to my own, like, not wanting to get out of my comfort zone and come on live, like things like that. I have to be defiant to how I feel on any given day, like thinking, because you always have doubt. I mean, everybody does. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to do an extension of that for like people who place orders and so forth. And you can always reach out to me. There's a number on my page, TikTok, that you can always text me, and same with Instagram, or you can DM me on Instagram. And you can put things in Facebook. I can see it after it's done. But they say things like, you are never alone. You are kind. And these are keychains. And I really I want people to understand, you are beautiful. You are so beautiful. You have no idea. And it is not determined by your size or your shape. You are chosen. It's determined by it's determined by the fact that you were made in the image of God. That's really what it's determined by. You are enough. Because you know what? We're all on this journey. My journey, I was slower than the average bear. It took me time to trade out my food ingredients. It took me time to go from a 2X down to a large. I didn't do it fast. I didn't do it in 3 months because I went, carnivore or something, which you can do. You can do that. And I'm not even against that. Like Dr. Kiltz, Kilz, uses carnivore to help women regain fertility. Like, I'm not even against that, but I'm just telling you, like, my journey was slow because whatever. I think I already said that one. And you are worthy. That's another one. You are worthy. And so as you're on your journey, as you are on your track of trying to make better decisions, and you're working through some of the mental stuff, you just need to know that you are amazing right now. You're not going to be amazing. You are not going to be worthy. You are not going to be, beautiful. You are already. And so nobody else is going to live your life for you. Nobody is coming to live your life for you. That will never happen. You will never wake up one morning and somebody else says, "Hi, my name is so and so, and I'm actually going to live your life for you and do the things that are hard." Nobody's going to do it. And so we need community, and we also need to be able to be told. I think the thing that was helpful for me is that I had to squelch the things that were in my mind from childhood. And again, I had an amazing childhood, not throwing anybody under the bus, just saying that there are things that you're taught and told, and especially as an Italian in my culture about eating and food. And it can be really frustrating. You don't know what you don't understand is that your sugar still spikes when you use sugar substitutes. Yeah, you know what? And I'm so glad you know that. I'm so glad that you're obviously testing your blood and you know that. Is it with all of them? That would be my number one question. There are some that are putting junky ingredients in their blends. There are some that just, maybe your metabolic flexibility is just really not there yet. Maybe in 2 years of really being strict, it changes. I don't know that answer, but sometimes if people will go straight monk fruit, straight allulose, straight stevia without anything junky, they can kind of get it to be a little different. But I'm glad you know that, because if you are testing your blood, then you already have answers available to you for you. Super important, really important, because it is not a one size fits all in terms of products and ingredients. It's not, because not everybody's at the same space, same point on the timeline of insulin resistance. Somebody's way over here and they're barely insulin resistant and they've got a little bit of belly fat going on. And they're at the very beginning going, what the heck is with this belly fat? And somebody else is over here, like my dad, and they're like 2 steps away from kidney dialysis. The metabolic flexibility is going to be different with every single person. Kristen, I'm so happy I found you. You are a beautiful soul. I love you, Kristen. I'm going to screenshot that. You're so sweet. Thank you. I love you. I just had to go on my journey myself. I don't even feel bad that I did. I didn't know, oh, I'm so alone going on this journey. I had never thought that, never dawned on me. All I know now is that as I sit here and I get to go live, like I have this privilege of going live on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places at one time. This didn't exist. It didn't exist when I was doing my journey. I did have the internet, obviously, because this is just a few years ago. I mean, before live. And so I could research stuff. I could find Maria Emmerich. I could find out what Dr. Ken Berry was saying, because there was YouTube and all that good stuff, but there wasn't just live like this. And so I feel like now I can help people shorten the time. I did it, kind of like do. Okay, that worked. Why did that work? Why in the world did those supplements work? And then I would question, maybe it's just me. But then I would have somebody locally do the same thing and say, I need to reorder my diabetes pills. And I'm like, what? And then I would hear the story about going to the doctor. And he literally texted me as he came out of the doctor, and he was so angry because they gave him such bad advice. And he's like, why are you telling me I have to go on meds when everything is going in the right direction with supplementation? Why are you telling me that? He was so angry. I wonder if I could find that text. I bet I could. And he was really mad. And I went, so it's not just me. Because I always just assume I'm an anomaly. I don't know why I think this way. I just do. I think, oh, it must just be me. And I'm sure maybe it's just, the enemy trying to keep me from talking or something, and sharing good things with people. I don't know. Anyway, but now I can shorten the time for people. I can help people go, okay, I tried this and it didn't work, like maybe a recipe that I didn't like or something, but then I can tell you the recipes that I do like. And then I can help you figure out what it is that you need for you. Like it's different for every person. What I love to eat, you might not love to eat. No problem. Let's find out what you love to eat and trade out those ingredients for you. Right? Because that's important. I needed to know. I needed to finally know I could still be a foodie. That was important to me. There was a lot of shame around that thought process. Well, if you're a foodie, then you're fat, right? No, I can still enjoy all the food that I love. I just switch out the ingredients. And so there has to be a place where we can, as women, come together and not only like, okay, so it's called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, but how about we ditch the shame? Sometimes we were just taught things when we were growing up that just don't match. And we have to get rid of those thoughts that kind of rattle around in our brain. And maybe it's in our subconscious and we're not paying attention, being a part of that clean plate club, finishing all your food, all of those things. Or maybe it's the self-talk, telling yourself that you're lazy, you don't have any discipline, you're never going to figure this out. You've never made it happen before. What makes you think it's going to happen now? All of that stuff. And I feel like that's why when somebody says that, sleeve surgery is just a tool, and they still have to do the work every day. Yeah, I can 100% connect with that, because no matter what, really the work is here. This is easy. Going to Walmart and buying this and making a keto muffin today, that's not the hard part. That's a recipe. I'm not even a recipe creator. I don't create recipes. I tweak them. I tweak them all the time, but I'm not a recipe creator. This is not the hard part. Super easy. This and this. These are the hard parts. And being able to journey with somebody who's walked it, that can be helpful. You buy a sugar substitute and your sugar goes down. Interesting, Anna. Yeah, and that actually is true too, especially with allulose. Sometimes people's blood sugar will go down with allulose. Yeah. And I don't know, everybody has to know these things about themselves. And again, I tested my blood when I was gestational diabetic 4 times a day. I avoided type 2 in my family. I'm the one that avoided it. So my dad took the route of medication and he ended up dead at 63, insulin dependent, kidney dialysis. I took the route of supplementation. That's what I talk about all the time. The trio, the 3 supplements. And there are more layers to that depending upon who you are and what you need. If you need help with inflammation, if you need help with cortisol, if you need help with vitamin D levels, etc. There are layers, fish oils, omega-3s. But I avoided completely type 2. So I don't take my blood because I don't need to. I did in a season, but I don't need to anymore. So any of you that are taking your blood, such a helpful tool. And even the continuous glucose monitors that people are using, I don't have one. I've thought about it, but I'm going to be super honest. I'm not willing to test things that are going to raise my blood sugar. I'm not willing to go off my plan. I love my plan so much. And my plan being I eat foods that don't spike my sugars hardly at all. And one of the reasons why is because I've so turned back my insulin resistance that I don't ache. And I'm not willing to go backwards just to test things to bring that to the marketplace. I've really, really thought about this. And because there are a couple of guys that have continuous glucose monitors and they're testing a lot of stuff on TikTok. And they're bringing good information to the table to find out, so what does happen when you supposedly freeze rice and then eat it, or freeze potatoes and then eat, all of these things that circle around on the morning news shows. What is the truth about sourdough bread? What is the truth about, because we just kind of go with the flow of whatever we hear because we want information that tells us we can eat whatever we want, or that there's a new trick, a new hack. Sometimes there is, but oftentimes you have to test your blood sugars to know. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of good information out there. I know that I'm only one portion of a realm. I'm just a tiny little portion of a realm of information that is very specific towards women. I'm convinced that women are sliding into their 40s. They're insulin resistant. They do not know it, just like I didn't. They don't know that insulin is a hormone, just like I didn't. And they're having a hard time with their weight, just like I was. And instead of thinking of the old school thought processes about counting points and calorie deficit only and getting into the gym and sweating to the oldies, or whatever, like we're doing all the things and we can't get the results. And now we're frustrated. We're disappointed in ourselves. And now that negative self-talk just won't calm down. It won't quiet. And that's kind of where I'm able to go. I think that if you consider the fact that you're insulin resistant, we can actually make some changes here. Right. And again, I know I'm not for everybody. That's perfect. That's not my goal. My goal is to connect with whoever God wants me to connect with on these, conversations. But anyway, gosh, you guys are so much fun. You guys are so, so fun to hang out with and to be able to just bring information to. You're a very grateful community. And I love that so much about you. If you ever want to get a hold of me to find out about targeted supplementation, it usually is the number one thing that I talk about. It's just where I started. You can either put a comment on my video if it's on Facebook or YouTube, and I can get back to you. Or TikTok, there's a phone number. If you go up to my face, and my face will come up again. There's a number you can text me. Like that's my number. That's my texting number. And Instagram, you can always get in my DMs. The trio, which are the three supplements, there's a highlight bubble at the top of Instagram. It's pink and it has a bunch of testimonies. And most all of those are from January. Like they're fresh. So go through the testimonies just so that you can understand like how this goes, where this is heading. And maybe you're looking for a way to actually speed up a process, or maybe you're looking for a way to just get a jump start, etc. I still take them to this day because I'm not interested in having, I just don't want to go backwards. I want my engine to keep working. And anyway, so there you go. Have a super amazing day. Always reach out. And yeah, it's Tuesday. Back at it. Back at it. Happy summer. And I will hopefully see everybody. You have a blessed day too, Anna, in the Facebook group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, next Monday, June 3rd, free challenge. Let's do it and get everybody resourced. Okay. Have a blessed day, you guys. See you later. Have a wonderful day, Kristen.